All right, first hole. It's about 350 yards. The pin's in the back. I'm just going to hit a 220 shot, 215, 220 shot. I've got 4-iron. The wind's a little bit behind me and off the left, but there's really not a whole lot of wind right now. I'm going to take it at the pin and just try to hit a small fade. A little high on the face, but it's the right. All right, so probably like 146, 147 to the center, 155 all the way back to the flag. There's a bunker right and slightly behind the pin, more like pin high right. So I really don't want to hit this at all pin high or past the flag. I probably want to only hit it about 152. It's pretty wet out here. If it was a little firmer, I might hit a 9, but I'm just going to try and hit a small fade, slightly choked down 8-iron. Hopefully land at about 150. I don't know where the divot went. It was a good shot. 8-iron's about low 160s, 162, 163 usually, so that should be just short of pin high. All right, pretty good shot. Landed like 151. Finished basically pin high left. It's gonna be a pretty flat putt, but should move a little bit to my right. Nice. All right, second hole, 515 par 5. I'd say probably one of the tougher tee shots, especially being the second hole. You know what? Usually it's a 3-wood, but I think it's so soft that even with it being the winds out of the west-northwest today, which means 2 is going to be downwind and a little bit off the right. With it being so soft, I think I'm just going to hit driver. With the wind off the right, I'm probably going to take this right up the middle and just try and hit a small fade to hold the breeze. If I overcut it, hopefully the wind smacks it and it stops short of the right tree line. If I don't fade it or I pull it, I had the wrong driver. If I don't fade it or I pull it, hopefully the wind just kind of carries it far enough. Kind of overcut it and the wind smacked it, and I think it's okay. Maybe right next to the path. All right, well, this is why it's usually a 3-wood. The fairways are soft, but over by the cart path here, it actually bounced a bit. So probably should have hit 3-wood. Normally would have probably hit a 3-wood, but I lucked out with a good lie. I've got 195 to the pin, but the most important number here is how far I have to the back of the left bunker, which is about 200 yards. So there's water along the green. I've got a little helping wind here, slightly off my left it feels, but mostly a little help. I've got a nice bare lie, and I'm just going to try and hit like a 40-yard cut with a 3-iron. 3-iron's kind of the right club here because it doesn't have a lot of loft, so you can open it up quite a bit. And it's going to be easier to curve the ball a lot. It's harder to curve a more lofted club. So I'm going to try and land this maybe 160 yards in the air and cut it really as much as I can. The pin's way over there to my right. I had the same exact shot the other day and almost hit the same exact shot there. All right, just short of the green here. It probably landed about that 160 number. It just kind of got a little bit hung up in the rough here. Otherwise, it might have scooted on the front of the green. I've got a good lie in the rough. There's really not a whole lot of grass. The rough isn't very long. The ball's pretty wet though, so I would anticipate the ball kind of skidding. I don't totally know how soft the greens are. I think it rained overnight, so I think it's pretty soft. So I'm going to take a pitching wedge. I otherwise might take a sand wedge, but I'm anticipating it being a little bit softer and slower. So I'm going to try and bump this pitching wedge right on the front edge and just kind of let it roll to the hole. Yeah, came out pretty good. All right, third hole here, par 3, 194 to the hole. Probably plays a little bit uphill, so say maybe 198. With the pin in the front here, you really want to play long. The green kind of slopes away, and the front hole location has a pretty small section. So unless you have a perfect number or kind of a shorter club, it's kind of a hard pin to hit at. So I'm going to take a 5-iron, which is usually a little bit over 200 yards, which is a little bit closer to the center of the green here. So I like trying to fade it into this hole because the green does slope away. And the miss probably really is to the left. Those bunkers on the right are pretty nasty, especially with that pin. So I'm just going to hit a full 5-iron with a small fade. The wind's off the left, and a little bit of help, so hopefully I can just ride the wind a little bit. Yeah, it should be good. All right, pretty well executed shot actually. It was actually a really good number too. It doesn't seem to ever work out that way on 3. Hit a small fade. The wind just pushed it right of the flag. The flag was probably playing about a little bit over 195. So a small cut, took a few yards off the 5-iron. It landed right here. Yeah, greens are pretty soft. That stopped pretty fast. This putt here is uphill for the first 2/3. It's going to gently go to the left, and at the end it's probably flat to even slightly downhill. Even with the greens punched, the ball seems to be rolling pretty good there. Freshly cut, they're not too bad. Wow, what a dream start.